All right, we'll see how this works. Let's see. Dashboard. Okay. All right. Let's see how this goes. I do not normally go live at this time. This is new. Not new setup, just a different place. Yeah, just a different place in the house. I'm seeing. We'll see how this goes because I've never actually streamed from my laptop before, so it might end horribly. Why don't I see YouTube chat? I don't know why I don't see YouTube chat. I see Twitch chat, but I don't see YouTube chat. All right, we'll just pop it out here. For me, it is 5:13 p.m. Oh, there we go. Now we got YouTube chat. It must have just took a minute for it to show up and okay, cool. So it seems like everything's working. Steven, if I might or might now be or not be pirating shows, which I'm not doing for Raspberry Pi project, do you know any sites that might or might not exist? I don't know of any. I don't know of any at all. Good afternoon, Rampla. Hello, hello. All right, I'm going to try to do some actual writing of the codes this afternoon. I have an idea for a project, uh, and I'm just going to try to hack on it a little bit this weekend and see how it goes. It may be something I leave on the vine, but we'll see. Just gonna have some fun. 1:14 a.m. here. Is it just me, or is the sound quality is worse? It's probably worse. It's on my headphones. Um, it's not my normal setup. This is a very impromptu. I was literally just sitting here working on something and decided, hey, I'll just stream it. So so if the setup isn't ideal, I apologize. And please feel free to ditch out if that is the case. All right, we're gonna try to build. I have this idea to see if I can create a coding agent for myself, but a coding agent that's a little bit more of a teacher than a doer. So that's going to be what I try to build. All right. So the first thing we're going to do What's with the new setup? Just a different place in the house. I was literally sitting upstairs and like we have like a little loft area, and I was sitting upstairs on the laptop working on stuff, and I thought, hey, let me try to go live and see what happens. So so I don't know how well this is gonna go. It's completely possible the stream just dies all of a sudden. My laptop just chokes and gives out. But that's what we're doing. So it's kind of an impromptu thing. Hello, my first time here. Well, welcome in. If you're new here, we pretty much just hang out and talk about programming and coding stuff. Can you use Spring Boot or Java? I don't know any Java, and I don't know any Spring Boot. Um, I'm gonna use C#. I haven't gotten to code much C# lately because we've been all over the place in Go land and Rust land, and so I'm gonna try to do this in C#. So we're gonna do new item, readme.md. We're gonna do .NET new, git ignore, .NET new, editor config. Nope. .NET new, editor config. That looks good. And then we're going to put the solution at the root. So we'll say .NET new SLN. We're going to name this Gadfly. Yes. Cool. And then we're going to make a new direct. Oh, I think that was a solution and solution X file actually. Nice. That's the new solution for file format for .NET. Is it's in XML now. Cool. So let's do make directory source. And let's go ahead and go into source. Actually, we don't need to do that. We can say .NET new console. We'll out that to source. And we'll call this gadfly.console. Okay. And then we have to say .NET SLN add source. Yeah. And then we'll do a quick .NET build. Everything should work. Fingers crossed. Oh, I should probably, hold on. Let me go to YouTube and pin a comment just in case anybody wants to head over to Twitch real quick. Let's see. There is a horizontal stream on Twitch. All right. And now what we're going to do is let's start hacking on this a little bit. So I think just to get started with, the first thing I'm going to do is get talking to Gemini. That's the first thing I'm going to do. Let's see. Gadfly. This is my attempt to create a coding agent that is more researcher, assistant, and teacher than one that just does everything for me. Okay. So let's create a Gemini client. And we're going to try to keep most of this pretty basic. Like I said, this is really just a toy project. I don't honestly know how far I'll pursue this, but I just had this idea last night when I was sitting on the couch and thought, man, I wonder if I could actually do something like that. And I think it's possible. It's just if I want to build it so to see if I actually find it useful. I see I'm not the only one surprised by the notification. Yeah, everyone was surprised. Are you gonna do this more often? I don't know. I don't know if I'll stream impromptu like this in the afternoon. It just depends on what's going on. Um, we had snow and stuff, so it's a pretty chill day, and the rest of the family's just get string. Thanks for the follow, man. I appreciate that. Gemini is definitely my recommendation for this. Nice. Yeah, I like the Gemini API. That's kind of been my go-to LLM. I think they have a really nice, generous free tier. Um, so we'll see. We'll see how this goes. Okay, so we'll do internal sealed class. We'll just call this Gemini client. And I'm gonna, real quick, I do not like indent size of 4 spaces, so I'm gonna make this 2. Then we have to LSP restart OmniSharp to get that to take effect. Just wake up from sleep at 6 in the morning. Oh, nice. We're like on exactly opposite time schedules. Are the Gemini gems a thing that free users get? You can create gems, yeah, in the Gemini UI. I don't know if you can use the gems through. I don't know if you can use the gems through the API. I think it might be just a UI thing. That's honestly why their LLM has progressed as much as it has so far. They have so much more data to go off since their free tier is as friendly as it is. Ah, nice. Well, there you go. There is a method to their madness. Yes. Okay, so the other thing I need to do here is I'm going to have private read-only HTTP client factory. Underscore, yeah, client factory. And then we'll do a public Gemini client takes an HTTP client. I think I have to bring in a package for this. Work. I think I need to add a like Microsoft extensions.hosting or something like that. Oh, whoops. It thought I was actually navigating to a website. Microsoft.extensions. I think it's hosting. Well, of course, Google has the best data to go off. Rad, thanks for the follow on Twitch, man. Appreciate that. That's super kind of you. Let's see, .NET, add source. I keep wanting to write Gladfly, but it's Gadfly. Add package, and specifically add this one. I can't remember if this is the one I want or if it's a separate one. I guess I could have just looked it up since I do have access to the internet. HTTP client factory. I think that actually might come from Microsoft extensions.http. Okay. Microsoft extensions.http. There we go. And now we should be able to come back to this guy. And then we should be able to bring this into with it using. Yeah, that's fine. Wonder if I need to restart this. Could do underscore client factory equals client factory. And this wants me to use a primary constructor. That's fine. I'll happily do that. And I don't know if this is going to build. I don't think this is going to build. I don't think I have all the usings. that I need. Oh no, it does. Okay. All right, now we need to actually talk to the Gemini API. So Gemini API docs. I tell you what, the AP, even though I said that I like working with the Gemini API, their docs are really not good. Oh, looks like they have a C# client now. That's new. Do I want to use that? I don't think so. I think I'm just gonna build my own, write my own. I think that's fine. Probably won't be fine when I get to the tool calling part of this, but what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Hmm. Let's get the API key, right? We need the API key. We need the base URL. So I'll do private const string uh, base URL equals whatever this is over here. I probably don't need 3 Flash. I probably need like I probably just need like a really cheap model. Let's see, Gemini API model IDs. Hey, what's up, Lilo Gamer Pro? Couldn't be here on the morning. Oh, no worries, dude. No worries, man. Yeah, everyone's got a life, you know? I want like 2.0 Flash, 2.0 Flashlight. I guess we could do this one. I don't really need anything fancy because I'm just kind of prototyping. Oh, let's see, we'll do this guy. So we got our base URL, and then we're gonna have to pass in the API key. And that should probably actually be the first thing we have to pass. Or actually, we should probably have like an options class. So let's do internal sealed class Gemini options. And we'll just do let's see, public string API key. There's a getter and a setter. And we can just default that to an empty string. This, and then we will say, now this guy has a private read-only Gemini options. And then this will be set to options.value. So we'll use the C#, the options pattern. So we'll say, give me an I options of type Gemini options. This is going to complain because we don't have a using. We'll bring that in. Okay, so now we have a way to get the HTTP client. We have a way to get our API key. We have our base URL. And then we just need to build kind of basically the DTOs to be able to send a request to the client. So we have to be able to model the request and the response, which shouldn't be too difficult. I'm just going to do the bare minimum here. So we'll do public, no, we don't need public, internal sealed. Hey, what's up, Shudo? Whoa, midday stream. Yeah, just a kind of a random. I was sitting here and no, we weren't doing anything, so I thought, hey, let me try to stream from my laptop. More out of curiosity to see if my laptop could actually keep up. You can kind of see the machine is pegged on pretty much RAM usage. It's swapping memory. I'm on Wi-Fi. This could all go very horrible. Hello, FireGo Gamer. Welcome in. Okay, so we need to declare our models here. So we need internal sealed record, and we will call this the content, or maybe just like a response. No, we'll just do content. Content, and content is going to have a list of parts, which we haven't defined yet. Parts, we have a getter, we'll have an emitter, set that equal to a new list. We'll do needs a role, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you have to send a role, don't you? Yeah, let's see. Text. I thought you had to include a role. So there's your system instruction. I'll probably want to send some system instructions. This is where their docs kind of suck because it's hard to find the models that they're referencing. Like there should be an easy way for me just to look at the content. See API reference maybe? Generating content. Text generation. And that just takes me back here. Okay, here we go. Content. Yeah, see, I knew there was a role. I was like, why aren't they showing that? Public. Oh, this also needs a public string role. Getter, emitter, empty string. Like that. And then this thing's still going to be pissed because we need a part. So a part, so they have this part object that has a bunch of fields on it, and it has this data type that's a union. And so depending on what you get back from the LLM, so this is actually more of a polymorphic thing. So when you're deserializing this from the response, you really should have like different parts. Like part should be a base class, and then you should have like a text part, an inline data part, a function called part. But I'm not going to worry about all that. I'm just going to do this kind of in the ugliest way possible. So I'm just going to do internal sealed record part. And in this case, I'm just going to care about the string, public string text, getter, emitter, and we'll set this equal to empty. And why are you complaining? Oh, because I left out a semicolon. Because we have our content, we have our part, and that should be all we need to make a request. Going back to their examples. So let's see if we can make a request properly using the HTTP client. No worries, dude. Get your breakfast, man. Yeah. Do your thing. Do your thing. So let's have a public async task. And we'll say this returns content. And we'll say, okay, great. Let's generate content async. I'd like you to give me the content you wanted me to send. Contents. And then maybe also I think there'll probably be a list of tools that we want to send, but for now we'll just do content. And let's just return a task. This. Are you complaining? Cannot implicitly convert from type. Oh. Well, we could just do task from results equals new content. Why are you complaining, man? No, I do not want that to be static. That is not going to be static here in a little bit. All right, let's see if we can build this thing real quick. .NET build. Okay, still builds. Good. So we haven't broke anything horribly yet. I opened up Chatterino and saw the red dot on the tab I have for your chat and was confused whether it was broken or you had decided to stream. I just decided to stream. Yeah, it was kind of a last minute decision. The next playoff game starts at 7, so I think I'll probably stream till about then. Unless my computer gives up on me before that. We'll see. And the sun's going down, so my lighting's just going to get progressively worse. If you're looking for a quality stream, this is not the one. This is not the one. How do I... shoot. How do I get a link to my Twitch stream? I saw Blue Sky added a feature. I don't know if you guys saw this. Blue Sky added a feature where you can actually tell people when you're live, which I thought was pretty cool. But you can only do it with Twitch, I think. Let's see. Go live. So how do I get a link to my Twitch stream? Twitch TV. Channel. Oh, thanks. Did it? I don't. Hold on, let me look. Yeah, that helped. Yeah, that's better. Thank you. Love you, honey. I don't know if you know what Chatterino is, but it's Twitch chat. It's a Twitch chat client with tabs and stuff. Oh no, I've never heard of that. That's pretty cool. I'll have to check that out. How do I share this thing? Is it just the link itself, maybe? Oh, nice. Okay. So let's say I'm gonna be live till about 7-ish. I've never used this Blue Sky feature before, so I'm just gonna try it. See what happens. All right, what was I doing? I was trying to return content, wasn't I? Yeah, I was trying to return content from the API. Let's see. Just the link. Oh, thank you, Melty. Thank you for helping a 32-year-old dad figure out how to navigate his stream. Okay, so I guess the first thing we want to do is we want to make the request. So let's say var request equals, I guess new, we'll just make a anonymous object. Actually, we don't need to do that. Well, We kind of do because we actually, see how the top level of this object is actually contents? So we actually do need to make like we probably should have like a Gemini content request aggregate or something, but I'm just going to do an anonymous object for now. Contents like that. Evening 199, good to see you. Oblivious, good to see you too. Thanks for being a member. Appreciate you. Let's see, we got our contents, and then we need to serialize this. So then we can just say var JSON equals JSON serializer dot. Oh, we need to bring that in. Dot serialize. And what are we going to serialize? We're going to serialize the request. And then we have to build the actual HTTP request body. I've been here. Oh, sorry, Oblivious. I didn't see you earlier. And then we're going to create some new content. We're going to say new string content. We could actually probably, we probably don't even need any of this. We actually probably could just do, this is fine. This is fine. This is probably better for if we want to make this AOT. So we'll do that, and then we need to say var body equals new. Is it new HTTP request? Request message, or can we just send this with the client? So if I say using var clients equals client factory dot create clients, and then I just say it doesn't like it that I'm using. I have to change that in editor config, but we can use explicit types for now. That's fine. This can also be. Okay. So we have our string content. We have our. I think the client will just. I think we can just do equals await client dot post. Yeah. And I think this takes the request URI, which is just going to be our base URL. And I think we can just send the content. And I think this is complaining because it needs to be async. And this is complaining because we're not using explicits. And we also need to set the API key. So this takes a X Google API key header. So let's do client dot default request headers dot add, and we have to pass it in the name, and then the option will give us our key like that. And I'm actually going to move this into so I'm going to say private const string API key header equals xgoog key. Key header like this. All right, we're making progress. We're making progress with this thing. All right, and then we're just gonna do this like the nasty. We're just writing the nastiest C#, but we'll just do if. Well, actually, let's just do response dot ensure success status code, which basically means if the request fails, we're just gonna eject from this from this method, which is fine. That's probably all this stuff we're going to revisit in the future. If this actually proves useful, so this is my theory. My theory is, can I make a coding agent that's more of a researcher, assistant, and teacher? Because I like having AI that's aware of like my project and context and has access to GitHub, but I want the agent to really push back on I really want this agent to push on me the same way like a really senior dev would push on you, right? Like if you're stuck, maybe your senior dev like stubs out a method for you or writes some test cases for you, right? Like I want a coding agent that's not going to just be like, here, let me write tip to tail solution. Let me try to help level you up. So that's the whole point of this whole exercise is, can I build something that's more of the kind of coding agent that I want to work with? And I'm guessing if I use like the Copilot CLI with maybe like a custom instructions or something, or like an instructions.md file, I'm guessing I could probably get somewhat of the way there. But I mean, come on, it's fun to build your own stuff. Okay, so then if we do have a success, then we are going to get the content. So we'll say response content equals response dot body, or sorry, content dot read as a string. And then we'll say, okay, the actual content is going to equal, what do the responses look like? Let's see. There we go. Generate content response. So we have a candidate, and then the candidates is an array. Yeah, so we need to go into the candidates, we need to grab the first candidate, and we need to grab the content off of there. That's what we need to do. 10 people in here, that's like 2 times the average. Oh, nice. Well, thanks for hanging out with Twitch. Appreciate it. Hey, Uncle Pee-wee, bunch of folks in here today. Oh, nice. Yeah, it's kind of a later stream. But thanks for hanging out with me, guys. Appreciate you. We're just enjoying our Saturday evening. Hacking on the faintest idea. I don't know how well this is going to work, but we're going to try to make it happen. So I'm just going to use the system text.json APIs to do this for right now. So I'm just going to do response. Maybe let's do doc, JSON doc. And so we'll say, okay, JSON documents dot parse, and we'll do response content like this. Oh, we have to wait this. And I guess there's a parse async in here. I didn't know that. Parse async. Oh, but it takes a stream. So theoretically, I could actually not read the whole thing I could read this as a stream. This is fine for now. And then we need to get the candidates. So we'll say candidates equals JSON doc. Steven, what's going on? It's not even morning. It's not morning. Yeah, I was sitting here working on this. I was getting ready to like start working on this idea that I had last night, and I was like, well, let me see if my laptop can stream. So if the setup looks different or the quality is not as good as it maybe not saying that the quality is normally good, but if things are off compared to what you normally see here, that's the reason why. This is a very impromptu setup. So we'll do root element dot get property, and we want the candidates, right? Candidates, if I could spell. And we want the first one. And then we want the content, which is going to be candidates dot get property content. A local variable. Oh yeah, so this is response content, I guess. I'm running out of names. I'm running out of names. I guess candidate content. I mean, we could probably chain these together more. We don't need individual variables for each one. Yes, we have candidates. Body in that mood night. What? Normally quality is pretty good. I'd say, oh well, thanks, man. Yeah, thanks. I appreciate that. I just, yeah, this is just like a thrown together thing. I'm on my laptop. I have a little Logitech webcam up here, and then I'm using my mic as these headphones. So it is what it is. If you're new here and if you're new here from Twitch or new here from YouTube, normally what everyone's commenting on is because normally I only stream like 4:15 in the morning till about 7 a.m. in the morning. So this is a very odd occurrence. What are you building? I'm building I'm trying to build like my own coding agent or like my own version of a coding agent. It won't be as full featured probably as like what some of these other tools are, but the idea is basically, can I like put my own prompting around it to basically turn it into kind of like if Socrates was a senior developer, right? That's the kind of the idea is like, can I create a coding agent that talks to me as if they were a senior developer using like the Socratic method, right? So like if I'm struggling, instead of the coding agent just like fixing my struggles, can it lead me, right? Can it lead me to the solution? Can it teach me, right? That way I still get the benefits and I still get the practice of working with coding agents, but I'm still engaged as like an active participant, right? So kind of creating the experience I want to have when working with AI. That's the idea. The faint idea. All right, so we have our candidate content. And now we just need to deserialize that. So we need to say, okay, great. Let's do JSON deserialize. JSON serializer dot deserialize. And we are going to deserialize the candidate content. And we're going to deserialize it to a content record. Now this could go horribly wrong, so if it does, we'll just say throw new JSON exception, unable to deserialize content. Like that. Just gonna put this on a new line, just a little easier to read. And I think that gets us where we want to go. This probably should be get raw text like that. That's pretty cool. What are you planning on? AI feature-wise, RAG, file system access, text? I think feature-wise, I'm thinking to start with just something that can look at the current project that I'm working in I don't know if I'll do anything with RAG. I think I would like the agent. One of the things I love doing with Copilot is I love being able to go to like a repo, like kind of what I've been doing um, with the iced repository. I like being able to go to a repository and open up the chat and basically say like, can you tell me how to do XYZ? Because I don't understand how this library does things. And so I think I'd like my agent to have that ability. But I think to start with, just read the file system, and then have like a custom system instruction to it, uh, and then just go from there and just see what else I want to add. I kind of want to prototype. I want to get it to where it's like it's functional, and then try to use it. And as I use it, try to be like, oh, I wish it could do this, or oh, I wish I could do that, and just kind of let the features evolve naturally. But the thing I don't like right now, because right now what I basically do is I use the chat interfaces, and what I don't like about that is I'm constantly having to like copy code and be like, hey, look at this, hey, look at that. Like I have to craft all that context myself. Versus if I bring it into the terminal, which I'm sure all of you like have used like Copilot, or you've used Claude Code or Gemini CLI or any of those tools. The wonderful thing about it is like it's very easy for it to get context, right? You can just like add a file, and you don't have all that back and forth, right? And so we'll see. I don't know. It may be a complete utter disaster of an idea, but I'll have fun doing it. So yeah. Okay. So where were we? We were here. And I think the last thing I want to do here is I'm going to add a private static read-only JSON serializer options. JSON options equals new. And we're just going to set the property naming policy to be property JSON naming policy dot camel case. That way everything plays nice when we serialize. Pass that in here. Oh, that can't be static. Damn it. Uh, Hold on. Yeah. Can it? I think it can be static. Let's see. Static. There we go. I was like, I swear I've done that before. And then here we'll pass that as well. JSON options. All right. And I guess let's test this, yeah? Or, oh, we have to wire everything up. Yeah, we got to wire up the host and everything. I also need to generate an app settings dot development dot JSON and app settings dot JSON. This is going to have a Gemini options. And this just needs an API key. That. So we'll bind to this from our program. So we are going to do var builder equals host dot. I think I want create Default builder? I can't remember. I think it's default builder is what I want. Let me look that up. Post.create default builder. So one of them has extra stuff that I don't need. And I think it's the application builder that I don't need. I think I just want the create default builder. So it loads configuration for the host, which is what I want. It loads app configuration, which is what I want. It adds some default logging providers. That's fine. And it sets up the dependency injection. Yeah, this is what I want. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say builder dot services. Oh, my computer's complaining. I think I'm pushing the resources. Hey, thanks for following, man. Appreciate you. Or I guess that's a subscriber, huh, on YouTube. I don't know why it keeps complaining about the charger, but it does. Steven, what are your thoughts on mono repo versus poly repo? I don't honestly have many because I've never worked in a big team. Most of my projects have always been smaller teams. So you're okay, buddy. You're all right. Your iPad's right there. Raphael, why did you choose C sharp for this? TS seems the more obvious choice to me. I just like C sharp. Yeah, I just like working in C sharp. I enjoy it. I like the hosting model. I like the services. Um, so I wonder, maybe I should use this one because that. Hmm. I guess iHost Builder doesn't have a services property. I guess that's where I need to use builder.configure services like that. And this will take a delegate. Services. Or no, this is going to take CTX. I don't think I need that. Services. And then we'll do services.add HTTP client. So that's the first thing we want to do. And then we also want to, whoops, yeah, that's fine. We can make it static, but we want to bring in that. And then we want to do services.add singleton. Yeah, add a singleton, which is going to be our Gemini client, like this. It really wants me to use a discard, which is fine. Now, why are you complaining here? Cannot implicitly convert type to extensions. An explicit conversion exists. Are you missing a cast? Do I have to return? Maybe I have to return the services here? So why? Oh, shoot, sorry. Because I'm using the discard up here, and that is thinks I'm assigning to it, and I'm not. I'm just trying to. All right, so we have our HTTP client, we have our Gemini client. We need our options. So we need to say services.add options. And so this is going to be of type Gemini options. And then I think we pass in the configuration, if I remember right, something like ctx.configuration.get section, and then we can do name of Gemini options. I guess not. I guess I don't remember. Cannot convert from I configuration section to string. Let's look this one up. Let's see, Gemini .NET options pattern or something like this. It seems like I always have to look this up every time I want to do this. Add options. Let's see. Is this the name, I guess, of the options? Oh, there it is. Bind. So we want .bind. Get section. I think that's how you do that. I think that's how you do that. Hey Bartek, thanks for the follow, man, on YouTube. Appreciate you. I'm sorry, guys, I don't have any of my alerts set up on this computer. Normally, I have some funny alerts and some text to speech and stuff. Where was the monorepo comment? I don't see it here on Twitch or on YouTube. Somebody asked about it. Let me see if I can find it. How do you have your stream set up like this? I just use a tool called Meld Studio. What's up, Justin? I see you're locked in right now. I'm chafing it right now. Smoking meats, a new specialty of mine. Nice. Duck, I like it. Working on sides right now. Decided to throw on YouTube. Glad to see you're grinding. Oh, thanks, Justin. Well, thank you for being here. Appreciate you. Let's see. Who was it that asked? Threaten6 asked about the mono repo versus poly repo. You last. Sorry, man. I just saw your message on YouTube. Sorry, I missed you. I'm not trying to ignore you guys. I've been paying attention to the code a little bit this time around. Raphael tabs. Who dat? I have no idea. Threaten6. I don't see him anywhere. They're on you. Well, they're in my YouTube chat, so I don't know. It's weird that I see them and you don't see them. So that's weird. I don't know. Meld Studio, this streaming software that I use, it has like combined chat. So maybe I don't know. I have no idea. It's a mystery. Big mystery. Okay, I think this is all we need, right? And then I just need to set my key. Oh, uh, I don't think this is copying. That built. I don't think this is copying app settings. So if we look in the bin folder, I don't think app settings is in here. Yeah. So we have to add. We have to add some sort of. I think it's an item group, and I think it's something like. It's something like content or none. I can't remember exactly which one. I think it's none. let's see, .NET none CS proj. Exclude app settings from being automatically included as content, but isn't compiled / copied by default. I think I want this right here. I'm almost certain that's what I want. Let's see, app settings .development. XML document structures must start and end with the same entity. I'm pretty sure it does. I don't know what you're talking about there, bro. Let's see, if we build again. What? Oh, shoot. I guess that error was a valid error. Ain't nobody here that asked about monorepos. Well, whoever you are, join Discord, tag me. We can chat about monorepos for hours. Yeah, I don't have any experience with that kind of stuff. I've always built, pretty small packages on the JavaScript side. I've never really had to work in a repository where it was a big JavaScript nightmare. The largest code base that I work in is just a big giant .NET solution. So I don't have enough experience, I think, to really have a good opinion. Okay, yeah, so there's app settings.development now in our build folder. So now let's set our API key. I'm actually going to do that. Let's see, we need to exclude this file from app settings. So we do not want to do anything that has that nomenclature except for example.json. I don't know why that's not in there by default. That really should be in there by default. Okay, so then we'll go app settings .example.json, and I'm just gonna pull what we have here over here. This way, if I clone this down to another machine, it'll be a little easier for me to figure out what I need to set. Okay, so then in program, let's do var host equals builder.build. And then we'll do, let's just get the client. So we'll say var client equals host.services.get required service. And then we will say var content equals await Gemini dot generate content. Generate content async. And then we have to pass in that list. So we'll just say new. And then we'll say role is user and parts equals new text equals what is your name. So what we're doing here is we're just basically saying, like, does my code, like, is everything wired up properly? That's basically what we're doing. Let's do that. If you take issue with my formatting, it's okay. I format C# code like a JavaScript developer. Okay, what is your name? And then That's fine. We can do explicit typing. It's not a bother. And then we'll just say console.writeLine content dot parts dot 0 text. All right, so I think if I do this, it should build. If I run it, it's going to crash. I should get like an exception. So I would do .NET run source gadfly. Which, if you get the gadfly reference, me and you can be friends. What are you building? Hey, crypto trader. I'm basically trying to build. Yeah, so 403 forbidden. That's what I should get because the API key is not set. I'm trying to build like I had an idea last night. I was like, because I've been talking a lot about how I haven't been enjoying working with coding agents because I don't feel like a terribly active participant, and I feel like the more I use AI, the worse of an engineer I become. Like things that were easy or things that used to feel easy start to feel hard the more I use them. Hey, Kels. My wife calling me a nerd. um, hey, what's up, Reps? How are you? Um, and so I had this idea last night when I was sitting on the couch. I thought, what if I could make a coding agent that fits the way I want to work with a coding agent. I want a coding agent to be more like Socrates as a senior developer. I want it to be something that pushes on me to get better at the craft. And when I'm stuck, I don't want it to just give me the answer. I don't just want it to do the work for me. I want it to try to help make me better. I want it to like, imagine like if you've ever paired with somebody before and you feel stuck or you don't feel like you understand something, but they do, and they will like they'll sort of like scaffold out a method for you or like scaffold out a signature of a method and then you fill it in. Or they'll write a few test cases for you, right? And then you can react to that. And so that's the kind of coding agent I want to work with. Yeah, and I don't know how well it's going to work. Again, it's like I'm just going to try it and see what it does. And if it's awful, it's awful. But I figure I can hack it together, try some prompts, and see if I can get it to kind of do what I want it to do. Um, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Uh, and I'm sure there's somebody out there who's thinking like, well, you can do that with Claude Code, or the CLI, one of the CLI tools, with some like custom instructions. But then I wouldn't get to have all the fun of building it myself. But I do see your logic there, if that's what you're thinking. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to open this in Notepad just so that I don't, because I'm going to set an API key in here. App settings. Let's see. I got to go over to the AI Studio, and I got to make myself an API key. Let's see, AI Studio. Also, who won the Bills game? Is that game over? Who won? Bills versus Broncos. Ooh, it's close. Ooh, it's gonna be a good game. I'm gonna enjoy watching those highlights. Okay, so let's do Google AI Studio. I'm doing this off screen because I really don't want to leak an API key and somebody take off and run with it. So let's create a new API key. Let's call this Gadfly development. Create that. Let's copy it. Stick it over here. And hopefully I won't leak it. If I do leak it, it's not a big deal. I can just rotate it. Hey, morning. Good to see you. And I apologize, chat, if it feels like I'm ignoring you. I'm not trying to ignore you at all. I'm just also trying to make some headway. I'll be live again like normal in the morning. So if we don't get to chat much this evening, I'll be there in the morning. Back to doing more Rust stuff in the morning. Oh, I think also the other thing I want to do here is I think I want to builder dot configure logging. I think I want to do clear providers. Using Microsoft.extensions.logging. All right, so now we're going to try to run this again. And my hope is if I wired everything correctly, let's see, 403 forbidden. Okay. So that makes me think we are not resolving correctly. This is probably, hold on. Sorry guys, I'm gonna hide my screen just for 1 second because I'm gonna try to look at my app settings file. Give me 1 sec. It's gonna go black for a second. But I'm gonna bring it back. Just give me 1 sec. Notepad. I should probably keep it open actually, so I don't have to keep doing this. All right, there we go. Hey, I like the emoji use. I don't see enough people use my emojis. So that's awesome, man. Thanks for using that. I did put thought into them. See, Gemini options. This is name of Gemini options. We have our Gemini client. We're adding it to the default request headers. We're sending it to the right endpoint. API key, we bind to it. We have a setter, we have a getter. Huh. This should be working. Let's see, let's delete this. Let's try again, .NET build. .NET run. Forbidden. Okay, so for some reason that API key, I shall use them diligently, sir. Thank you very much. I appreciate using them. I put thought into them. You know, I sat and thought about what kind of emojis I wanted to use, but I don't see people use them. All right, I think I'm just gonna have to print this to the screen, but I don't want to do that. I need to check and see why this isn't binding. Let's see, why isn't this binding? We have the right API key. We have Gemini options. I wonder. Okay. So what I did was, all I did was I separated this out into a separate variable. Um, the config section that I'm binding to, I just separated it out to see if that made any kind of a difference. I'm guessing it didn't. Okay, so which means we should try to print fixed formatting. So something about the options are not binding the way I'd expect them to, but I don't know why. The settings file is correct. I guess I'll just do console write. I'm just gonna leak this key. uh, Thank you for following, man, over on Twitch. I appreciate that. Okay, section Gemini options not found in configuration. And that cannot be possible because I can see it in the config file. Um, .NET options. I really shouldn't be stuck on it this bad. This is such a simple thing to do. It didn't scream. Send highlighted message. You need a hydrate reward? What's a hydrate reward? Bind hierarchical configuration. That's what I want to do. I wonder if it's just not is it just not loading the configuration maybe? Um, builder dot configure app configuration. Hold on. I got an idea. Give me one sec. Let's see if this makes any difference. This becomes this becomes services. Builder dot services. Basically all this becomes up here. Then we do builder dot services. And then this is going to be Same thing, but we're not going to get the configuration from the context. We're going to get it from the builder. And then we can get rid of all this stuff. And then we're going to see if that makes a difference. So my theory is that for whatever reason, that default host isn't loading the app settings.development.json file. Section Gemini options not found in configuration. Okay, so it didn't make a difference. I guess I'll just explicitly try to add it and see if that fixes it. That's really frustrating, though, that this is giving me so much trouble. Builder dot app configure app configuration. C dot add JSON file, and we'll say it's called app settings dot development dot JSON, and it is not optional. It must be there. The configuration file app settings.development.json was not found and is not optional. Let's see. It is the expected physical path is Gladfly app settings. Okay. I think I understand why. Okay, so this is where we need to say C dot set base path, which is going to be app context dot base directory. So it's just looking for it in the wrong place. What the fuck, man? Oh my goodness, this is so frustrating. Let's see, C dot set base path equals app context dot base directory dot add JSON file equals app settings dot development dot JSON. I know that file's there. I just need to tell this host how to load it. Hey, there we go. An hour and 30 minutes later, we make a successful request to Gemini. Wonderful. We did it. Okay. So that is what we needed to do. Yo, what are we coding today? We are trying to figure out if we can build a version of we're basically trying to see if we can build a coding agent that is the equivalent to Socrates. If Socrates was a senior developer, that's my inspiration. So the idea is, can I build a coding agent that leans on me the same way a senior developer would lean on me? If I came to him and said, I'm stuck, I can't figure this out, I don't know what I'm doing, I don't want my senior developer to just jump in and do it all for me, right? I want a senior developer who's going to try to coach me and help me get better and try to push me towards the right answer, right? So imagine you're pairing with somebody and you're stuck on some implementation, but they are clear on what the implementation should be. And so instead of just saying, hey, let me do it for you, they stub out a method signature, or they write some test cases for you. Or maybe you're using a library for the first time and you don't understand how the library works. And so you want your agent to be able to go and look at that repository and then explain to you kind of the architectural patterns and how you would go about using it. Which is how I'm using AI a lot these days. But the thing is I'm using the UI, like I'm using Copilot, in my browser window, and which means that I have to copy and paste a lot of things, and I have to take stuff from my code base and put it into the context window and then go back and forth. And so if I can build a coding agent that lives in the terminal, similar to like Gemini CLI or the Copilot CLI, that will save me a lot of time. It'll be a more interesting uh, experience, I think. Again, this is like a half-baked idea that's like 24 hours old. So it may not live past this weekend, but we're going to try it. I'm almost certain you're going to need to set up an MPC server as well. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to implement tool calling is what I think I'm going to do. So I'm going to define some tools in my code that allow the agent to read from the file system, and then I think eventually I'm going to add some support to call the GitHub API. So I could use MCPs, but I think I'm just going to implement tools in my code to start with. But I think you're most definitely right. If I wanted to just use existing functionality, I would probably be more bang for my buck to implement support for an MCP, or turn this into more of an MCP client that can accept MCP servers. I'd probably get more bang for my buck that way. But I'm just gonna start as simple as possible, so that I can figure out is like, do I even like this? Like, is this even a good idea, or am I just wasting my time? Okay, so we have a way to talk to Gemini, and now what we want to do is we want to have an agent. So I'm going to call this. I'm just going to call this my agent. And the only really unique thing about the agent right now is it's going to have a prompt. I mean, that's the only really thing it's not going to have any tool calling at the moment. It's just going to have a prompt around it. Gadfly.console that, like I said, pushes it to adopt that persona that I talked about. See you, Raphael. Appreciate you hanging out, man. MCP is what I meant. They get hella lazy when it comes to context management, though. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is like then you have to kind of be controlling what tools are loaded up into that context window. So that's why I think it might just be simpler for me, or what I'm thinking is it'll be simpler for me to just implement some basic tool calling. So I'm thinking basically I'll have like a read file, read directory, maybe a write file, and then maybe when I hook it up to the GitHub API, I'll have something like search repositories or something like that. And so I'll just explicitly enable specific functionality for the agent. Let's see, internal sealed class agent, and it's going to need a Gemini client, like that. And we'll do Gemini. We'll have it passed in, because eventually we can refactor this to. And then the agent's just going to run, and the agent's going to have our loop. The agent's going to have the loop in it, right? So the agent's going to be the thing that persists basically to handle the back and forth, right, with the user, is what the agent's going to do. Let's see if we can get this working before I think the next football game is at, let's see, when's the next football game? NFL games today. I think it's at 7. 7, yeah. So I'm gonna try to see if I can't get this done before that next game starts. All right, let's see if I can't get the agent working. So the agent's just going to have a method called run async, I think. That seems pretty natural. So we'll do public task run async. And we'll just return task.completed like this for now. We do not want to make it static because we're going to access the client. So if we go back to our program, instead of doing what we're doing here, we are going to, instead of getting the client, we're going to get our agent. So this will be agent, agent, and this will be agent as well. That. And then we'll do see services dot add singleton agent like this. And we'll do await agent dot run async. And so this, all that's going to do is it's going to start a loop. Once we actually get it implemented, it's just going to start a loop, so that and basically read from the console and report to the console, then read from the console, report. This is just going to be our loop. So what does our loop look like? Is this C#? It is C#. So technically, you're senior software engineer by age, right? Last at 28 years. Yeah, I guess I am one by age. 32, but I've not been working probably for, if there's another person that's been in tech, if they are 32 and they've been in tech since they got out of college, right? They're way more senior than me, because I've only been working in tech since 2020. I don't know. Senior and junior titles are weird because they don't always mean the same thing everywhere. Like, and I don't think that's just like a tech thing. That's like every industry, right? Like senior at one company is not equivalent to senior at another. And junior, yeah, it's just like it's hard to do a direct comparison like that, you know? All right. So we want to be able to have. I'm just a software engineer. We don't have junior roles. I think that's probably a good thing. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Yeah, I think junior and senior titles just gets weird, right? Um, I think in a lot of cases that's more about compensation, right? In a lot of ways, those tiers, it's more about how does a company structure compensation than it is necessarily um, what it means in terms of your capabilities. Which you would think those two things would be equal, but they're not always equal, right? Those two things don't always line up. Milo, I see seniors doing less than you do. Oh, well, yeah, I mean, and that's Milo. It's just difficult. Also, hi, first time chatter. Hello. Um, yeah, I don't know. I just try to be better. You know what I mean? I'm just focused on trying to get better at this whole thing. We're not going to, yeah, we don't need to do this anymore. So while true, what are we going to do? We're going to say console.write. This is because I always do this. I shouldn't have called this gladfly.console. I should have called it like gladfly.terminal or something, because now I have to do system.console everywhere. That was dumb. Now I want to rename everything. .write. And we'll just say, I guess, something like that. And then we'll do system.console.readline. Say var user input. Then if I'm gonna do very simple, a simple way to. I'll basically say if the user string dot is null or white space, so if they don't give me anything, then we will just break. That'll be how we quit the application. And then otherwise, we're going to make a request to the Gemini API to get a response. So we'll say conversation dot add, and we will add in. So this takes content. So we need new content. Our role will be user, and then our parts for this is just going to be a new part with text equals whatever the user gave us. Format this a little bit. Role. We got parts. Okay. And then we should be able to take our conversation and we can just pass that to our client. So we should be able to say await var agent response equals await client dot generate content async, and then pass in the conversation, which we'll just keep track of and build up over time. And we have to make the method async. And then once we get the agent response, we want to loop over that and we want to add that to our, or we want to add that to our conversation and we want to loop over it and print out whatever the agent said back. So we'll say and this is, I mean, this is very simple, right? This is very simple, just like your very basic chat bot at this point is what we're building, is basically just a terminal chat bot. And then we're going to add a system instruction to try to give it a persona, and then we'll give it some tools, and then I'll try to use it for some coding sessions and see if it's helpful or not. So we want to do an agent response dot parts, and we'll say, okay, if string dot is null or white space, part dot text. So basically, if it has some text, or I guess say if it is null or white space, we'll just continue. Otherwise, we'll do system dot console dot write line, and we'll say, how did we do it up there? We said you, so we'll say Gemini. This also probably, I probably want it to stream this in, you know, long term. Probably want this to be streamed in. Let's see if it works. That should be all we need. Let's see. Moment of truth. Hi. I'm working on a new project. It's basically turning it's basically creating a coding agent that acts like coding agent that is like Socrates became a senior developer. What do you think? Please work, please work, please work. Oh man, the inference is slow. It worked. Let's see. What does it say here? Man, dude, Gemini. Oh my goodness! It just it went on. That's fascinating. An ambitious project. Socrates, the senior developer concept's a great hook. Here's a breakdown of my thoughts, potential challenges, and some ideas to get you started. Oh man, this guy's a talker. Thanks. Let's see if the conversation works. So let's say, thanks. My name is Steven. What is your name? It's my pleasure, Steven. I don't have a name. Okay, and then I'm going to ask it, what is my name? Your name is Steve. Yeah, okay, cool. So the conversation's being persisted. Obviously, it's in memory. So we're just having this gigantic list of messages build up in the terminal. And obviously, this is very ugly and it's very basic, but this is the foundation. So this is what we can start to build on. And the way we build on it is by allowing our agent to take on a persona. And the persona that we want is, again, I'm currently learning how to code with C#. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, C# is wonderful. It's my favorite language to work with. So I hope you're enjoying it. Hey, man, I just want to say that you are the GOAT. I really appreciate you and the work that you are doing. It's very inspiring, and I love it. I would love to have you as a coworker. Well, that's very nice of you to say, man. I appreciate that. I don't know if I'm a GOAT, but I am having a lot of fun making content on my YouTube channel and on Twitch now, I guess, too. So I'm glad that you're enjoying it because I'm having a lot of fun with it. Okay, so I'm not the best prompt engineer. So I think what I'll do is I'll use my trusty. Actually, hold on. This is let's do something super meta. So let's do this. Let's use Gadfly. Let's use my Gadfly console to write the prompt that Gadfly will use. How about that? I'm building an agent whose persona is going to be Socrates as a senior developer. Basically, I want an agent that doesn't just write code and implement solutions for me. I want the agent to lean on me the same way a good senior developer would to make me a better developer. In other words, try to use the, yeah, what was that? Can you please generate a prompt for my agent? We'll see if it'll do it. I mean, it should do it. I mean, it's whether or not it'll be good, we'll have to see. We probably should also set up some sort of like evaluations. Damn, that's a long prompt. Let's see. You are Socrates, a senior developer with decades of experience and a passion for teaching. You are a master of questioning and philosophical reasoning. Applying these skills to software development, you will approach problems not by immediately providing solutions, but by guiding the user to discover the answers through critical thinking and collaborative exploration. Your aim is to evaluate the user's understanding and empower them to solve problems independently. I think I like it. I'm probably not going to read all of it, but I think it sounds good enough. I think the thing I want to add is, okay, that is pretty good, but I also want this agent to be a good researcher, or I want this agent to be willing to be a good researcher and assistant too. So it should be willing. I don't know. Maybe that's me trying to optimize too soon. Maybe I should just take what it gave me and try to explore that. So let's take this. So yes, we are using our agent to develop the prompt for our agent. Things are getting very meta. There you go. I'm enjoying it. Super user friendly and clear. Oh, good. I'm glad. Yeah. C sharp's I think C sharp's underrated. I think C sharp has a really bad rap because of just its history, you know? It's just kind of it's attached to Microsoft and then that doesn't help and then it for a long time it was very coupled to Windows and again that doesn't help. And so I think it's had a lot to overcome in recent years, but I feel like the .NET team in general has done a really good job of trying to modernize C sharp and make it easier to get into C sharp development, make it more friendly, especially if you're somebody who's coming from like a JavaScript background or a TypeScript script background or a Python background. I feel like they're trying to do more and more to make that barrier of entry much lower. And I think that's a huge win. Done like a true vibe coder. Exactly. Exactly. I'm considering going for my private pilot license. Nice. I have a call. One of the developers I work with at work actually has his pilot license. Yeah, I think that's cool. Although the planes. So what kind of planes would you fly? Like you'd fly like the real small, like little Cessna, like Bush aircraft. Like do those? Aiko, thanks for the follow, man. I appreciate that on YouTube. Thank you very much, man. Uh, does that give you any pause? Because those seem to be the planes that crash the most often. uh, I mean I know flying is technically safer than driving, so I guess getting your pilot's license probably far less risky than getting your driver's license. Uh, I think I'm going to put this in a separate file for now because I'm just going to put this as a like a static class. This isn't probably the best way to manage your prompt, so don't do what I do. The agent prompt, the internal static class. And we'll just say public const string. Let's do something like whoops. Gosh dang, if I could figure out how to select things in GG? No. There we go. That's a gosh dang. 2. There we go. Okay. And also, this guy's name is not Socrates. You are Gadfly. Hmm. Okay. P.S. I'd love to see you try and purely vibe code a project one day, like just spend one day or a few hours and see how far you could get with your coding experience. Yeah, I think that'd be fun. I had a lot of fun watching the Primogen do that. Um, the thing is though, I've tried to do that off stream like three times, and I always just like I get bored. I get bored. But yeah, no, I think that's a fair. I think that would be a fair piece of content to make for my channel. Let's see. Long-term goal is a cub. Short-term would be to one of those little Cessnas. I think you should go for it, man. I think life is all about just. I think life is about treating, or you should treat life almost like an RPG, and you're just trying to acquire skills and then level up those skills. I think that makes life so much more interesting to think about it that way. So why not become a pilot, right? Okay. So now we need to use this prompt. Uh, And so what we should probably do is, I think, where are we? We're back over here. Now we're looking at the Gemini docs again. The Gemini docs have, or sorry, the Gemini API, I think, takes a, I'm pretty sure it takes like a system instruction key or something in the request. Oh, there's a chat endpoint now. Oh no, that's an example of just here we go, system instruction. So system instruction takes another content object. Do they have an example using a system instruction? They must have an example. System. Here we go. System instructions. Here we go. So basically, we just add another key, which is basically a singular content object and not an array. So how do we want to do that? I guess there's a couple different ways we can set it. It needs to eventually get passed into here is where it needs to get passed into. We need to put it right here. So we'd have this guy. This needs to be system, what is it? System instruction. And it needs to be just system instruction. That doesn't exist. And it really probably should be optional, but I will just make it required. And we need to go update our agent, because now this is going to complain. Actually, you know what? I have a different idea for this. I'm going to do internal sealed. Can I do a sealed partial class? Yeah. So then what I'm going to do is over here, instead of calling this agent prompt, I'm just going to call this prompt. And then I will make this, let's see, internal sealed partial, which means then I should be able to then access that prompt just by doing this. Should be able just to say prompt. Oh, I have to create a content object. Content system instruction equals new content. And you are going to be role. I think role is system. And then parts is just going to be new. I honestly hate the shape of these data structures. I honestly hate the shape of them, but that's what the Gemini API uses. And so it just kind of is what it is. Prompt is probably a bad definition too, right? It should probably be. Yeah, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make this read a little bit cleaner. I'm just going to call this system instruction. I'm going to pull this out to that other partial class. And I'm going to have a property in here that is public it returns a content object. It's called system instruction, and all it does is it returns a new content object. Yeah, it can be static. That's fine. Like this. And then in the agent, everyone should be happy now. Okay, so if we close our Gadfly and we rerun it, the hope is now we should have an agent that has somewhat of a persona. So when we talk to it, we should be able to say, what is your name? And hopefully it'll say Gadfly. My name is Gadfly. I'm here to help you explore and understand software development challenges. How can I assist you today? Let's see. Let's say I'm struggling to understand ownership in Rust. Could you help me develop a framework for deciding when to transfer ownership? Ownership in Rust, a fascinating and often challenging concept, but one that unlocks a lot of power and safety in your code. It's a little, I mean, this is a little kitschy, right? Before we dive into a framework, let's start with the basics. What's your current understanding of ownership, borrowing, and lifetimes? Can you describe in your own words what these concepts mean and why they are important in Rust? Also, what specific aspects of ownership are you finding most difficult to grasp? Yeah, I mean, I think that sounds like what I'm looking for. I think now I need to probably put together some evaluations, like some for instances, and see how it responds. And then I need to start to I need to modify the prompt. And then I need to start to use it too. I need to give it some tools so I can use it with my during a coding session, so it can read my files and stuff. So I'm just going to add I'm going to add a to-do here. To-do add files that would make it a true coding agent. So that would be something like we probably want to be able to read files, read directories, read files, read directories. I think we want it to be able to write files. Like for example, like if I say, can you please help me understand this method's implementation by writing some tests for me or something like that? I want it to be able to actually write to files. What other tools? I think at some point I'd kind of like it to be able to do stuff with GitHub context. Maybe NuGet too. I don't know. That may not be useful if I can just use GitHub. So yeah, I think that's where we're going to come to today. We've been making a RAG setup at work to scrape all documents and information at work. Been really cool to see come together. Yeah, RAG is really cool. The thing with RAG though is it just seems fragile. Whenever we've implemented it in solutions where I work, it always just seems somewhat fragile. And then you also have this like data redundancy nightmare and sync nightmare where like you have data that's like stored in its normal form, but then you have to vectorize that same data and you have to keep the two in sync. So like if this piece of data changes, then you need to make sure that the embedding is updated. But it can be super powerful, right? It makes for wonderful search experiences, that's for sure. All right, guys. Well, I think this was a successful impromptu session here. I think I'm going to get off here and go watch the football game. Let's see, it's the 49ers versus the Seahawks. So I think whoever wins this game, if the Rams are my favorite NFL team. So I think whoever wins this game, the Rams will play maybe. But yeah, I think I'm gonna jump off here. I don't know how often I'll do streams like this. This was just kind of like a trial run to see if I could actually stream from my laptop. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you had fun just kind of listening to me ramble on about trying to explore this idea. I think this is when I have the most fun, is when I have an idea and I just kind of explore it through code. Kicked of a KC for that comment. What's up, Yusuf? How are you? Yeah, kicked out of. Yeah, kicked out of. Yeah, I'm not a. I'm. It's not that I'm not a Chiefs fan. I'm just not a. I'm a bigger fan of the Rams. Let's see. I personally love asking AI to draw me a flow chart for how things work behind the scenes. It usually does a decent job. Gives me the instant light bulbs. I like that too. Yeah, like a mermaid diagram. I feel like is very helpful, and they're really good at mermaid diagrams, better than I am. All right. Well, guys, if you're new here, I guess I don't have my normal bot set up, so I'm just going to spam chat. If you're new here and you'd like to hang out with me or anyone from chat outside of the streams, you can find us in Discord, https discord.stephenfreeborn.com. That's the best place to find us. If you want to come back and hang out on the stream on a regular basis, I'm normally live. Let's see, my normal stream schedule is 4:15 a.m. to 7 o'clock a.m. CST or CST. So if you're around then, please come hang out. And sorry, Uncle Pee Wee, that command doesn't work since I don't have StreamerBot running right now. That's my bad. All right, guys, I'm going to go watch the football game. I hope you guys have a good night. Thanks for hanging out with me. I appreciate it. Bye, Uncle Pee Wee. Bye, Yusuf. Let's see who else is here. Bye, Oblivious. Bye, Melty. Who else? Anybody else? Izok, if you're still here. All right. Bye, guys. Bye, chat. Bye.